It's been a tough few months for the California-based ride-hailing firm. Uber's been troubled by sexual harassment and discrimination lawsuits, accusations of questionable business practices, as well as protests from taxi drivers around the world. It seems most of the company's problems are from within, with the Uber CEO, Travis Kalanick, setting the tone for its aggressive work culture. Kalanick founded Uber in 2009, building it into the world's largest car-hailing service, valued at almost $70 billion. Following criticism of his management style, he's taken drastic measures to repair the damage to Uber's reputation. Last week, he announced he would take an indefinite leave of absence. The break was meant to allow Kalanick to become a better leader and restore confidence in the company. But mounting pressure from Uber's major investors and shareholders have now forced him to quit. In a joint letter titled "Moving Uber Forward," they've demanded a change at the top, which finally led to Kalanick's formal resignation. In a statement, he says, "I love Uber more than anything in the world, and at this difficult moment in my personal life, I've accepted the investors' request to step aside so that Uber can go back to building rather than be distracted with another fight." While Kalanick will stay at the company as a board member, Uber will now be looking for a new CEO, one that could change its culture along with people's perception. Francis Collings, TRT World.
Now, for more on this, Chris Roebuck joins me now from London. He's a visiting professor of transformational leadership at the Cass Business School. Chris, welcome back to Money Talks. Does Travis Kalanick's departure mark a departure from the so-called bro culture in Silicon Valley?
I think to some degree, more than anything, it just emphasises the fact that the entrepreneur who sets up a business is often not the person that is needed to take it forward through IPO and expand it even further, and that sometimes these entrepreneurs need to move on. If you look at Twitter, Jack Dorsey, he left and then came back once he'd improved himself. So it's a classic scenario. I just think that in the case of Kalanick, he just didn't want to go. On top of that, with the scandals, the pressure just got to the point that the investors said, we have to do something.
So do you think we might see more of Kalanick yet?
Well, you see, there's an issue here because he's still on the board. See, Dorsey just went and left the space for the new CEO to change things, adapt the culture, etc. I think there's a challenge for the individual that takes over to have the creator on the board, and that's going to need a very strong character who has the ability to get the best out of him, but also, to be blunt, control him, because the future of Uber now lies in a culture that is not the culture that Kalanick has created.
Very quickly, Chris, what lessons should other startups learn from Kalanick's problems?
The lesson is quite simple. As an entrepreneur, you're great at starting things, but you might not be a great leader, and you need to accept that. And you need to know that actually, if you want the best from people, it's about inspiring them to succeed, not intimidating them to succeed.
And finally, Chris, what is the situation now? Uber is facing a hell of a lot of competition with companies like Lyft. Are they successfully going to be able to see through some of the strategies that they're trying to push through in the US and elsewhere?
I'm not sure. It depends. You know, there are some areas where they may be successful and other areas where they may not be successful. The critical thing is if they get a really good CEO in place who has the strength to change the culture, the strength to push things through that regulators, customers and other people want, then it will be successful. You know, somebody said to me as I was coming to the interview, well, Jeff Imlet's now free from GE, so there's a challenge for him.
Chris Roebuck from the Cass Business School in London, thank you so much.